Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio. 250 plus markets across the United States of America. And of course, the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio, Sirius XM style, channel 80 as well. The number to call up is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. It's time for some Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. You know, I cannot believe the idiots out here, and I'm not talking about my contemporaries in the media because we got to report what we have to report. So if you got the media out there and the New England Patriots swearing that Tom Brady has hurt his right hand, that Tom Brady walking around a little slinky may not be ready, or he's not going to be 100%, he's not going to be ready for the AFC Championship game to go up against the Jacksonville Jaguars and that vaunted defense. Anybody who believes that nonsense, I got some swampland in East Rutherford, New Jersey to sell to you. I mean, can we really spare me? I can't believe that I am compelled to start off my radio show by bringing up something that I don't even consider news. Because I got news for you. It's very simple to me, ladies and gentlemen. If Tom Brady was really hurt, do you think Bill Belichick would ever let us know? Do you think Bill Belichick would ever let the Jacksonville Jaguars know? I mean, it's just such an utterly ridiculous storyline that a five-time champion who's been to 7 Super Bowls, who's played through a myriad of nicks and knacks throughout his career, whose team obviously is in position for the 7th consecutive time. They are just 60 minutes away from a Super Bowl appearance. And I'm supposed to be worried that Tom Brady might have hurt his pinky. Really? Really? I mean, come on now. I don't have time for this nonsense. I'm obligated to report it. It is ESPN. It is the worldwide leader. This is the news that is circulating. And I guess we have to discuss it. See, this is the reason why I have suddenly politicked for knowing I will never get to be a commentator on Monday Night Football. This is the reason. Because see, I'm the type of person, I'd be the Jeff Van Gundy of Monday Night Football. I'd be going off like, please, why are we wasting time? Why are we wasting time with this non-story? I could be in a booth. I can see myself in a booth now with another color commentator and a play-by-play guy. Can we move on? Are we really supposed to take this seriously? That Tom Brady has hurt himself. He's hurt his hand. Oh, my Lord. Tom Brady's not going to be able to go. Oh, stop it. It's a waste of time. Now, me personally, I would prefer to elevate myself and be gifted enough where I would warrant comparisons to the late, great Howard Cosell, God rest his soul. But I ain't that damn lucky. And I digress from the bigger point. The bigger point is there's no story here. Tom Brady will be ready Sunday. The Jacksonville Jaguars, even with their elite defense, courtesy of Jalen Ramsey talking smack, their defense in Jacksonville might be in a little bit of trouble. Unless you're one of those people that believe what Max Kellerman believes, that, you know, Tom Coughlin, formerly of the New York Giants, now a VP with the Jacksonville Jaguars, will have this team ready, even though he ain't the damn coach. Believe what you want. Believe what you want. I would remind everybody that the Jacksonville Jaguars, with the vaunted number 2 overall defense, did surrender 35 points to the Pittsburgh Steelers last Sunday. I remind everybody about that. I know they scored 45. Or the Pittsburgh Steelers scored 42, rather. But 35 points legitimately were surrendered by Jacksonville's defense. I'd like to remind everybody of that reality, just in case you forgot. To make sure we get that out of the way. It's very important. Number to call up, as always, is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. Plus, you can catch me on my Twitter handle at Stephen A. Stephen A. Smith, rather. And, of course, on Facebook, it's Stephen A. as well. This is the one thing. You know, we talk about this, and we talk about Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. We need to talk about who's gone. We need to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, too. Because, see, news is circulating and percolating in the streets of New York City, in case y'all missed it. Todd Haley, the former offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, essentially unceremoniously dismissed yesterday by Mike Tomlin, is on the market. And because the Steelers had a top 3 offense, And I believe that Todd Haley, with all due respect, has been railroaded by Big Ben Roethlisberger, because if the quarterback wanted him to stay, Todd Haley would still be there as the offensive coordinator. Let's call it what it is. The quarterback coach is going to be elevated to the offensive coordinator, Mr. Randy Fichtner. He is a guy that gets along very, very well with Big Ben Roethlisberger. I'm sick and tired of hearing these damn stories. I'm sick and tired of these stories where there's some offensive coordinator that gets along so well with the quarterback, and as a result, they get elevated. Somebody gets elevated from a coordinator to a head coaching position, or from a positional coach to a coordinator's position, because they have great relationships. Damn the relationships. Do you produce? Todd Haley produced. If you're going to let him go, let him go. But I don't think all of these stories are fair to him, where we're hearing about his relationship or lack thereof, and how you wish that he had a better relationship with Big Ben Roethlisberger. Big Ben Roethlisberger got sacked less over the last 3 years than ever before. Ben Roethlisberger was prolific over the last few years than he ever was before. Antonio Brown had 5 consecutive 100 reception seasons under Todd Haley. The offense was ranked in the top 3 to 5 over the last 4 years. Now, I'm not trying to paint the man as a saint or anything like that. You give me a choice between him and Tomlin, I'm picking Tomlin all day, every day. Let's not lose perspective. But Todd Haley doesn't deserve to be excoriated like he was some bum that got in the way of the Steelers' success. By and large, he contributed to their success. And right now, percolating throughout the streets of New York City, to the point where my idiotic producers, who I love dearly, but damn it, they are idiotic. His name is Jonathan Winthrop, to be specific. This dude is talking about how Todd Haley is a good choice to be the head coach. Let's pump the brakes on that. Because here's the reality. Todd Haley knows football. Todd Haley can be an offensive coordinator. Todd Haley is not a leader of men. That's where your problem lies. There is a difference between doing your job and being an overseer of men. There's a difference, especially in the NFL. And when it comes to the NFL, let's understand something incredibly, incredibly important. You cannot have somebody that's a bit eccentric, that can be cantankerous, even belligerent to some degree. You cannot have him as the head coach of New York City. He'll get eaten alive. He'll get eaten alive. You leaving notes on napkins at bars. You depart from bars with your pelvic jammed up because you might have slipped on stairs or got beat up because you were a little inebriated, depending on what stories you believe. You cannot have an offensive coordinator with a suspect background in terms of his relationships, or dare I say his behavior, being a head coach in New York City. It's a disaster waiting to happen. You got to be disciplined. You cannot go that route if you are New York. People are talking about that with the Giants and the Jets or whatever. Todd Bowles is coaching New York Jets. Should he consider Todd Haley as an offensive coordinator? Sure, I don't mind. But last time I checked, Todd Haley needs something to work with. And Josh McCown ain't no damn Big Ben Roethlisberger. And Anderson and Severin Jenkins and all of these boys, they ain't Antonio Brown. There's no Le'Veon Bell on this roster. Last time I checked, it was the likes of Matt Forte. No disrespect. So let's pump the brakes. And let's keep things in its proper perspective. Let's understand what this is. Todd Haley didn't deserve to be unceremoniously dismissed. Dismiss him, sure, but we don't need to be talking about him like he didn't do the job, because he did. That's number one. Number two, you want him in New York as an offensive coordinator? I'm all for that. Don't talk to me about him as a head coach. I want to hear it. And number three, can we stop with the bogus stories about Tom Brady being injured? If he were truly injured, Bill Belichick would lie about that. And you damn well know it. Don't let me stick my man Carlton in Tampa on you. Don't let me do that. Bill Belichick would never tell the truth about that. Let's be very, very clear with that. 888-729-3776. 888-SAY-ESPN. By the way, I don't need to wait till Friday. I'm picking the New England Patriots to come out of the AFC. I'm picking the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Vikings in the NFC Championship game Sunday night. And we can spend the next 2 days talking about just that. live right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. Back with more and then some in a minute.
Craving even more of Stephen A?
Him of all people.
For around-the-clock access to the man?
I'm Stephen A.
You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Stephen A. Smith and on Facebook at Stephen A.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio. Sirius XM, Channel 80, 250-plus markets across the United States of America. Check your local listings. And I'm quite sure you will find me. The number to call up as always is 888-729-3776. That's 888-SAY-ESPN. See, one of the reasons, it's just like people, look, I'm a native New Yorker. You know, I'm a transplant to L.A. too because I'm in L.A. a lot because I love the sunshine, the weather, the palm trees. Well, damn it, let me stop lying. I just love the scenery. It's la-la, okay? You don't see me looking to get to San Francisco, all right? Even though there's nice folks out there, but L.A. is just special. Let's just leave it at that. But I will tell you this. The interesting thing about just thinking about things, I'm from New York, and y'all got me praising Tom Brady. This is not what I enjoy doing. He plays for that other team, Foxborough, Massachusetts. Boston, Massachusetts is what he represents. I'm a New Yorker. I don't enjoy praising him, but I must be honest. 66,000 yards passing in his career. 66,000. 488 touchdowns, just 160 interceptions. A career quarterback rating of 97.6. This year, at age 40, 4,577 yards passing, 32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, a 13-3 record. A candidate for league MVP on this. And oh, by the way, the man is 196-55 as a starting quarterback. And y'all are talking to me about Tom Brady? I mean, look, what do you want me to say? Tom Brady is sensational. Can we stop acting like we don't know? Can we stop acting like we don't know? He's that gifted. He's that gifted. And by the way, do y'all realize that with the exception of his injury in 2008 in the first game of the season, for the 2008 season, do y'all realize that the only games that Tom Brady has missed throughout his entire career since 2002 is the 4-game suspension he's received last year for Deflategate? The man doesn't miss games. He doesn't miss games. And y'all are telling me he hurt his hand handing the ball off to one of those runners in practice, that Tom Brady's going to miss the AFC Championship game? Or Tom Brady's in danger? Stop. Stop wasting my time. Y'all are almost wasting my time as much as these damn referees in the NBA are wasting my time. And I'll get to them in just a little while. Don't you worry about that. 888-729-3776 is 888-SAY-ESPN. Let's go to the phones. Brian and Callie, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
How's it going, Stephen A? Thanks for taking my call.
All right, go ahead, man.
You're absolutely right, man. It's pretty bogus on this injury to Tom Brady's hand, but I'm just curious to what you think. Do you think it's some type of angle that they're trying to take or trying to make? I mean,
well, listen, against Jacksonville's defense and the way everybody's talking about it, listen, the bottom line is you just never know. It's entirely plausible. Bill Belichick will use every trick in the book. Teddy Bruschi came on my show, First Take on ESPN2 every weekday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern to 12 noon. Teddy Bruschi, a 3-time champion with the New England Patriots, came on the show and said when he played for Bill Belichick told the players all the time, make sure to spray the perfume. Spray the perfume. You know, just flood the opponents with compliments. Don't give them any bulletin board material whatsoever. Let them do that. You make sure you don't. Just be ready to play come Sunday. And look at what has happened. Look at how that's worked out for everybody that has played for Bill Belichick in New England.
Right. One more thing. I really don't have faith in Blake Bortles because, he's not really shown up to be the quarterback that everybody thought he was going to be.
He did last week, though. He did last week. Let's be honest, and let's be honest and fair and give credit where it's due. And by the way, my producer is telling me that Brady missed the whole season, with the exception of game 1 in 2008. Evidently, my own producer's not listening to me because I do believe I said that before I said he missed the 4 games last year. I said with the exception, Cat Pastor, my other producer, tell the truth. I said with the exception of the 1 game he played where he got injured in 2008, forcing him to miss the whole season. He's never missed a game other than the Flakegate since 2002. But my other producer apparently didn't hear that part. Jonathan Winthrop, you need to listen. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
There's absolutely no way he's missing the AFC Championship game.
He's not going to miss it, and he's not going to underperform. Max Kellerman actually came on on First Take today, and this man sat up there and said with a straight face that Brady has more to prove than Blake Bortles, Nick Foles, or Case Keenum. Because the New England Patriots got rid of Garoppolo, and you're basically saying Brady's the man, so Brady's got to show up and produce. I'm like, please spare me. Not trying to hear that at all. Not trying to hear it at all. Appreciate the call, Brian. Thank you so much. I got distracted by the television for a second because apparently Scandal debuts tonight. The final season. I forgot. Olivia Pope, a.k.a. Kerry Washington. I totally forgot that the season. I thought the season debut was next week. It's tonight. I ain't missing Scandal tonight on ABC. Make sure y'all don't miss it either. Back to the calls. Omar, Connecticut, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
What's going on, Stephen A?
I'm all right. Go ahead, man.
Hey, don't you think the Tom Brady injury is more news than LeVar Ball's, than whatever's coming out of his mouth?
You sound a bit muffled. I need you to step away from the mic a little bit so I can hear you clearly because I didn't understand your point.
Don't you think that Tom Brady's injury is more news than whatever's coming out of LeVar Ball's mouth?
Well, Tom injury, yeah, right now, sure. Why?
Because I think LeVar Ball has never said anything that is true. Everything he says is a lie.
Well, so what does that have to do with anything? We just thought Tom Brady, we just found out that he may have been injured 24 hours ago. What does that have to do with LeVar Ball?
Because you're saying Tom Brady's injury is not a news. You shouldn't be covering it.
Well, what I'm saying to you is that I think it's a lie. I think that, in other words, they're trying to sit up there and hoodwink folks and hopefully the Jacksonville Jaguars into believing that Tom Brady is considerably less than 100% so they can underestimate New England and slip up, and New England could take advantage of it from an opposition perspective. That's all I meant.
So what's the difference between what LeVar Ball is doing?
Well, LeVar Ball doesn't have to play. Tom Brady does. That would be the difference. I know you tried to be smart and slick, but you ain't on this level. You can't catch me off guard with that. Have a nice day. What do you mean what LeVar Ball has to do with that? LeVar Ball can talk all the junk he wants. Lonzo Ball has to cash those checks. And in Lithuania, LiAngelo and LaMelo have to cash those checks. New England can say what they want about Tom Brady, but Tom Brady will be out on the field to show us. That is the difference. Evidently, the brother in Connecticut couldn't understand that.
I'm a robot vacuum cleaner, so yeah, I got one gig. I suck up dirt, so pardon my inferiority complex about Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could they save their customers money on car insurance, but they got fast and friendly claim service too, and an award-winning mobile app. Plus access to licensed agents 24/7. Who am I kidding? I can't even do corners. Uh-oh, choking hazard.
Popcorn kernels.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more. You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Let me say this about something that's really, really on my mind, and I'm really bothered about it in all seriousness. I was torturing myself, watching my favorite basketball team, the New York Knicks, lose yet another game last night. One of the things that really irked my nerves to no end was watching a referee I respect, who's done an outstanding job throughout his career as an NBA official. His name is Derek Stafford. And he issued a technical foul to Courtney Lee of the New York Knicks. Now, Courtney Lee of the New York Knicks, please understand something here. He's arguing with a player, okay? That's what he's doing. He's arguing with a player. And this is a guy that, I'm just looking at him. This rookie out of Oregon from last year, his name is Dylan, I believe. He's arguing with the kid. The kid grabs, nothing flagrant, nothing demonstrative, but the kid, grabs his arm. He flails him off. The kid rips on the back of his jersey. He nudges him during a jump ball. The referee stops. The two are talking to each other, and he gives Courtney Lee a technical foul. Courtney Lee is like, what did I do? What did I do? And Derek Safford ultimately issues a statement talking about inappropriate language. Really? Now, you got to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. I have no problem with an official that wants to tee you up because you're speaking very demonstrably and disrespectfully so towards the official. I have no problem with an official who's warning guys excessively because he's fearful that a fight might break out and he wants to reel that in, take control of the game. We understand that. We truly, truly do. The Joey Crawfords of the world and others throughout NBA history. We get it. We understand. But we are living in a day and age right now where LeBron James, the greatest player in the world, clearly box office, has been ejected. Steph Curry, the greatest shooter in the world, a two-time league MVP and a two-time champion, has been ejected for a game. Russell Westbrook, arguably the most exciting player in the NBA, a superstar, the greatest athletic point guard we've ever seen, is getting ejected. Kevin Durant, one of the top two players on the planet Earth, as far as I'm concerned, is getting ejected. And nobody's thinking anything about it. And then when the Clippers and the Houston Rockets get into it at the Staples Center the other day, and that follows up by Aaron Aflalo swinging on an Orlando Magic the other day, we want to talk about image issues. Has anybody taken into consideration that the NBA officials may be culprits in all of this? Because maybe if you weren't so eager and willing to give out texts like they're a bag of Skittles, and you're throwing dudes out of the game that people pay their hard-earned money to come and see, maybe the NBA wouldn't be having questions about an image issue, which, by the way, I think is bogus. These guys do a tremendous job. The players, in terms of their community work, their social activism, etc. The NBA as a league has done a good job. The NBA officials do a highly credible job of officiating this game, even though they make mistakes from time to time. But my God, you just going to throw guys out of the game or issue texts and think nobody notices? That gives Joe Public out there an excuse to label these players as problems. How long do you think it's going to be before people start looking at the players and going like this? Well, we really, really have to address this. I mean, my God, maybe Stephen A., they should be in anger management class. I mean, my Lord. Hockey players punching people in the face and hitting them with slapstick shots. Pucks flying everywhere. Crashing into the glass. Baseball players, clubhouses and dugouts are emptying. Brawls are taking place on a baseball field. We'll manage ourselves. A basketball player has bad breath. A football player takes a knee, and oh my God, Armageddon has arrived. Don't get me started on that. But my real overlying point, as it pertains specifically to NBA officials, is you don't recognize that we live in a different day and age? You don't recognize the fact that when you are so willing to give out texts and eject people from game, that contributes to the league's reputation being sullied? You don't get that? You don't understand that? The NBA officials are just as responsible as the players and the coaches and the league office to uphold and help build the brand that is the NBA. You got a meeting coming up in Los Angeles with Michelle Roberts, the executive director of the NBA Players Association, with Chris Paul, the president of the association. And I don't give a damn about me getting on Chris Paul the other day about his leadership role and that stuff that took place in L.A. at the Staples Center. That's one incident. That doesn't take away from the character that this man has and how good of a person he is and how consummate of a professional he is and how great of a player he is. And Michelle Roberts is a good woman. So the NBA referees that want to sit down and talk to her and Chris Paul, God bless you. But you can't look at them and put it on the players to uphold the league and absolve yourself from responsibility and culpability in that regard. You have just as much of a responsibility to uphold the league. You ain't separate and apart from the league. If you are an official, you have an obligation, just like the players, to conduct yourself accordingly. What about when this guy, Courtney Kirkland, was butting heads with Sean Livingston? I watched that. Sean Livingston didn't instigate that headbutt scenario. That was Kirkland who did that. You're an official, for Christ's sakes. And as far as I'm concerned, nobody has said this, so I'm going to say this. These NBA officials are starting to get like the Major League Baseball officials, where you instigating and antagonizing players. It ain't right. We don't pay to see y'all. And I'm not saying they're always wrong, because that's irresponsible and false. What I'm saying is you don't have to be as excessive as you've been sometimes and so eager to give out texts and throw people out of games. It ain't right, and it contributes to the negative publicity that the league gets with its players, and it ain't right. You got an obligation to uphold the standard too. Somebody need to say it, so damn it, I did. NBA officials do not get a pass on this.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Let's go to my man Carlton in Tampa. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, buddy. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing
I'm
today?
doing great. Thank you for calling. What's up?
I want to talk referees, but I want to talk NFL referees.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The crew for the New England game was named for Sunday's New England game, and it's Clete Blakeman. Clete Blakeman has been the head ref of 6 New England games. New England is 2-4 when he's been on the field. So I think the NFL is hearing, the pressure of how the calls have gone 3-1 against the Patriots' opponents the last 4 games, and they're trying to assign somebody who might have an objective bone in their body to head up that referee group. But Tony Sterator is the back judge. He's good old Gene Sterator's older brother. And so I got to do some research on pass interference calls that he's called this year, because he's going to be the guy throwing the flag.
Oh, Lord. You're doing your research to set the stage so when New England wins another game, another AFC championship game, you're going to point out how it's Bill Belichick. He won't stop. He won't stop cheating. That's where you're going, Carlton.
The Jacksonville Jaguars were not called for a single defensive holding or pass interference call against the Steelers, even though Bouye and Ramsey were mugging the Steelers receivers. And I predict, Stephen A., they'll be called for at least 3 defensive holding or pass interference calls by Mr. Sterator there. We shall see. I like the idea that Clete Blakeman is the head ref, because he certainly hasn't been a Patriots favorite there, given that they've probably lost more when he's been the head ref than anybody else. One more point, Stephen A.
Go ahead.
The reason why Haley is gone, okay? The Steelers' 2 most important games this year. The game against the Patriots and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We know that botch call at the end. No question about that.
They completely botched the end of the Patriots game, especially that 2-yard pass when they had 28 seconds to go and he tackled inbounds. And, of course, that led to the disastrous interception 1 play later. And of course, Haley had 6 or 7 minutes while they were reviewing the Jesse James call to get his offense aligned, what they were going to do on the next 3 plays, and he botched it. And then the 2 fourth down low percentage calls that they got stuffed both times in the playoff game. Somebody had to pay for that. Now I'm just wondering, when the heck is somebody on the defensive side going to pay for their wretched secondary? Because that's the next person that needs to.
I don't think there's any question. I don't think there's any question about that. But I also don't think it was because of this play, a couple of botched plays this season. The fact is, Todd Haley had been here for 6 years. He walked into this season in the last year of his contract, and there was speculation long before those mistakes were made that the Steelers were going to make a change. And I think it had a lot to do with his relationship, particularly with Big Ben, and obviously. You listen, this is why Fichtner, has developed and cultivated a relationship with Big Ben to the point where they're going to take him from the quarterback coaching position and put him in as the offensive coordinator, primarily due to his great relationship with Big Ben. But you know what? Dirk Cutter had a great relationship with Jameis Winston to the point where they booted Lovie Smith out the door in Tampa, and look where that got them.
Yeah. Well, Roethlisberger, I don't know if it was Roethlisberger pointed it out or the columnist that pointed it out, that he has been successful on 18 out of 19 one-yard quarterback sneaks in his life.
Right.
And he's saying, I don't know why we're not calling that darn thing. So obviously he had a problem with these darn play calls. Not only that, but at the end of the Patriots game. So somebody was going to have to pay for that. Because it doesn't matter if you have the best offense in the NFL, if at the critical moments in playoff games or the Super Bowl, you lose your mind like Pete Carroll did, not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch 3 times from the half-yard line. So it doesn't really matter. You destroy the entire season if you can't keep your head in those moments.
I got you.
And the Steelers couldn't do it this year.
Thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate the call. All good points. No question about it. I agree with you on every single point that you made. No doubt. Let's go to Byron in Maine. You're live with Stephen A. Go ahead, Byron.
Hi, Stephen A. Thanks for taking my call.
Go ahead, buddy.
I want to change the pace a little bit. My concern is not officiating, but your opinion I would like to get on the LeBron James-Michael Jordan comparison. You hear a lot of it all the time. What I would like to see done is the people that have the films of Michael playing through his years that are matching LeBron's age and his years right now.
It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. LeBron James, as a talent, is a freak of nature and a once-in-a-lifetime player. 6'9", 260, can handle the ball, can pass. His basketball IQ is off the charts. He's a physical specimen. He's reliable health-wise. All of those things are true. And I would still take Jordan any day of the week and twice on Sundays because LeBron did not have that killer instinct. He does not have a closer's mentality. He will produce for you. He will put up numbers. He will keep you competitive. All those things are true. But when it's really time to close the deal, that is not the person that I'm going to rely upon. And when I think about Michael Jordan, I see a closer. I see the greatest assassin that the game has ever known. No, he's not 260 pounds. No, he can't beat you the way LeBron James could beat you, but he can will you to victory. And for example, even with the troubles and the issues that the Cleveland Cavaliers are having this year, we heard the same thing from LeBron in the conference championship games. After they beat Boston, he was talking about he was so stressed he didn't even want to think about it. Why? Because of, look at how tough the Golden State Warriors are going to be. You didn't hear that from Michael Jordan. That's why he was 6-0 in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, LeBron's talent is not into question. It's his mentality
exactly
during the games or at the end of games.
Exactly.
I never saw Michael not play with intensity. I can see games, even the last few against Toronto, that's just been played. I see LeBron being the last Cleveland Cavaliers down the floor, not on a fast break, but just walking with his hands completely at his side.
Yeah, I see a guy that was talking yesterday, basically preparing all of us for the Cleveland Cavaliers finishing in second place again. That's what I see and hear when I'm looking at LeBron James right now, a team and a player that knows they can't beat the Golden State Warriors. You'd have never seen that from Michael Jordan. You'd have never seen it.